Good morning. This is Lance Kenmore with the Kenmore team, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of the Tri-Cities Real Estate Update. As always, you can contact me, Lance Kenmore, anytime direct on my cell phone at 727-8977, or visit us on the web at kenmoreteam.com. Once again, I always like to thank John for hosting and everybody here at the station for working to make this happen. John McKay, how you doing? Good. So, looks like we are in the thick of things for another 30 days. Easy over there. So I think, he might not be the only one. As soon as that was announced, I saw a lot of Facebook messages and Instagram messages that parties were being planned for the 5th. So yeah, a lot has changed. I mean,
especially in your world.
Our world has changed dramatically with real estate, and it has been the target of a lot of clarifications that have come out from the governor's office, from our industry, and from the Washington Association of Realtors. So we are going to go over a lot of that again today, because it seems like in this day and age, things have been changing by the hour. I mean, things have, it has been a fast moving environment, and trying to get into what I call the new normal for the routines. Yes. But even since the radio show last week, we have had a numerous amount of changes in the real estate environment. So we're going to get to that. And before we do that, though, we always like to have kind of a light and bright moment. That was the theme we released 2 days ago. We released our Kenmore Quarterly digital magazine.
I saw that on Facebook.
Well, thank you. And we've had a great response to that. I think people have a lot of extra time at home to be reading through that. So if you did not get the Kenmore Quarterly, go to kenmoreteam.com, shoot us a message, and we will make sure we get you a copy of that. You can also visit us on our Facebook page at Kenmore Team and link up to the magazine. And so there were some updates in there about the type of things that we're doing, but our theme for the quarter was light and bright. And I think amongst all of the COVID news, we need to lighten things up a little bit sometimes.
That would be helpful.
So with the radio show, we always like to start off with our crazy celebrity real estate story. And this week, this one kind of caught my eye. This is coming out of mansionglobal.com. And they call it Walt Disney's Technicolor Dream House in Palm Springs. Now, since obviously Disney has been shut down and their company is experiencing a tremendous amount of revenue loss right now, I thought it kind of caught my eye because Disney has been in the news. But this is a house in a Palm Springs neighborhood. It's a mid-century modern, and it was built for the founder, Walt Disney, and his wife, Lillian. And what it was kind of their retreat for them to get away a little bit, enjoy Palm Springs. Interesting fact in the article, I didn't realize Walt Disney, he died in 1966 at age 65. His wife, Lillian, she lived to be 98, did not die until 97. So the home had been in the family for a long time. And then the current owner, it transferred hands back in 2017. A gentleman by the name of Brandon Riker had bought it. Bought the property for $865 in 2017, did some upgrades with solar panels, the pool, kind of some exterior work there. Left a lot of the interior as it was original because of the historical value of the house. A lot of bright colors and stuff in there that were put in by the Disney family. And that's on the market now for $1.1 million, which it's a little bit of an increase, but not as crazy as some of the celebrity properties we've seen there. So there's your chance. If you're a big Walt Disney fan and need a Palm Springs retreat, a very potentially historical buy there. One of the things we always like to do with our crazy celebrity real estate story is we like to temper that with our local Tri-Cities real estate story, what's happening in the Tri-Cities market. One of the things we've been talking about through COVID and through the coronavirus and what's happening and the way real estate has changed in the last 2 weeks is watching the fundamentals and the numbers of what's happening in the market. So this week, Tri-Cities Association of Realtors released our March data. The problem that we're going to have with that is looking backwards. And so there's going to be some trailing data that doesn't seem too bad right now. And the real impact in the real estate market that we're going to see is likely going to come towards the end of April and especially in May. So let me give you an example. If we were just looking at current stats that just came out, in March, currently, Tri-Cities Association of Realtors reporting around roughly 470 active listings in that market. Total number of sold, so these are houses that sold and that closed in March, was 372. Now, mind you, last March, that number was only 297. So we got to think back and look a little bit historical here, because if you just looked at that number, you would be like, hey, things aren't too bad. Everything's happy. But that's not super realistic. So let's look back and see what happened. So if we treat that as a trailing number, and we look back at March, say, gosh, well, Lance, that's, 74 more closings during COVID-19 than we had last March. The problem with that is last March, what we had was that was our first month following, we have to think back, Snowmageddon. So in February of last year, we were basically shut down. It was almost eerily similar to what's going on right now and has been going on. Well, when that happened in what should have been a pretty crazy spring market with a lot of closings, we only had 297. So if we used that as an indicator of what we were expecting to happen in April, here we just came off of a very high-powered March that was very similar to March of 2018 was 366, and in 2017 March total solds were 359. So we just came off a March that was really indicative of a normal spring market. If we treat this similar to what had happened during Snowmageddon, I think what we're likely going to see is we're going to see April's numbers be similar to what March was of last year. So it's very odd because generally, if you look at April's of the past, that's going to be a month where we had high closing numbers, 379, 352, and 17. What very, very likely could happen is that for the first time in a while, we're actually going to see that number decrease because of what's been going on. So here we had a hot March because we had great weather in February. But what we're likely going to see happen now is we're going to start to see that number of total solds trend down as activity has slowed. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that because that's what eventually is going to affect pricing and demand in the market. Crazy number to report. Average sold price last month, for instance, a number that should realistically be ignored, but you might hear reported. Average sold price last month, $336,000, which looking back at the data here, the only month we had seen that high was August of 2019. So prices for what closed last month still staying very, very high. The number of pendings, though, now that's an indicating number that we can actually use. For instance, the number of pendings in February was 471. So those are homes that went under contract but have not closed yet. That number already starting to indicate a little bit of a slowdown of the number of sales, as that number in March dropped to 423. 50 less in a spring market, obviously, because there were issues getting buyers to homes to make offers, getting current homes completed that otherwise would have been on the market because they're still shut down in the residential side. So pending numbers, we're going to be paying very, very close attention to those as we move forward. For the update, I wanted to get out there what changed in the last week. What happened in the real estate world, and what are we allowed to be doing right now? Because that is different from what we've had in the past. So what happened is there was a clarification issued by the governor's office that considered residential real estate essential, but limited how we could do business. So those protocols that must be followed in residential real estate is in-person activities must be by appointment only. So what that means is we're not having any open houses or brokers open where we could have an uncontrolled amount of people come through the property. Those real estate activities have to be by a specific appointment with a consumer or a service provider. Number 2 on that list, just so you as consumers are prepared for what you are going to see, is no more than 2 people, including the real estate broker, can be at the property at one time. Okay, and so we are following these guidelines very, very strictly, because we do not want the governor to reverse these guidelines that he has given our industry and take those options away, as he's trying to promote adding shelter for people that need it through these transactions. So no more than 2 people, including the broker. Very, very strange for real estate, but I don't want the consumers out there to be surprised when you go to see a property with your broker. And if you're seeing it with one of my brokers, you're going to know this ahead of time. We have a frequently asked question consumer handout that we are sending out to people before showings. Let's say you're a husband and wife. You come to show the property. The broker, we will have gloves on. We will have accessed our key box. We'll have opened the front door and open the doors with gloves because we want to keep our brokers safe. The broker then must escort one member of the family through the house. So if it's a husband-wife combo, and the wife wants to go see it first, then the husband is staying in the car. The broker is taking the wife through the property. Then she will leave the property and she will get back in the car, and then the husband will go through the property with the broker. So only 2 people on the property. We're encouraging those people that visit the property not to be touching things in a seller's house, and going through, having the broker with the gloves, open doors, have things ready so that they can walk through the house, check out the property, and then make their decision based upon that. We are also encouraging all of those clients prior to that to be using our virtual tours to discount properties. This is not a situation where we want to go out and show you 7 houses on a Saturday and have people exposed to additional risks. We would much prefer a client to take 7 properties they're interested in, view the virtual tours on all of those, and then limit their choice to the one that they think they want to write the offer on, and personally then view that property. Limit contact with the brokers, limit contact with the public, limit contact with the seller, trying to make this only absolutely necessary to keep people safe. So those were the guidelines that we've been given, and we are following those very, very closely. And it's unfortunate, but it says property. It also it doesn't say or specify house. We are so over the top on making sure that we maintain these. I apologize if it's an acreage property and you're parked out in the driveway. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but last week we had people park at the edge of the property. So they were actually off of it. Just because we want to make sure we're following these guidelines so realtors as a whole in our state do not get these things taken away from them. So if that offends somebody, you know what? In this environment, don't come look at the house because we're not trying to offend people. We're trying to keep our agents safe and the clients and the customers safe. And it's a good chance for you to possibly, though, get the home. And so if we have to walk a little bit further and make those accommodations, that's what we're going to try to do. Our clients have been amazing about it. Everybody that's come so far has understood that. And so that is what we are going for. Second of all, this applies to signing contracts too. We're trying to do everything digitally where possible, but if the client does not have access to that and signs the contract, we cannot meet a husband and wife at the same time at a property to sign those. It is one at a time. So we could come to the house, one of the two would have to leave. We could go in, we could sign the documents with the husband, then the husband needs to leave the property, and the wife can come back and we can sign those contracts also. So people are interpreting these rules differently, but I just gave you the Lance Kenmore interpretation, and the Washington Association of Realtors has one. We are taking things a step or two further just because we believe that is necessary. When we come back, there's also been big changes in property management, staging, and professional photography. It's changed twice in the last 7 days. Wow. When we come back from the break, we're going to go over what those changes are for photography and virtual tours.
Right here on News Talk 870.
Welcome back to the Tri-Cities Real Estate Update. We've been talking about COVID-19 updates in the real estate industry. It has been changing daily, sometimes hourly. And so there's been a lot of time and energy put forth by the Washington Association of Realtors. Thank them for what they've done with keeping our industry moving and getting certain facets of that opened back up. Before the break, we talked about some changes on what's happened with the different areas of real estate. So when the orders, stay at home, stay healthy order first came out, real estate in-person activities were basically shut down. Before the break, we talked about what we can do now, but the safety protocols that need to be followed to do that. So for a number of days, they had opened it back up to where the agent themselves could go into the home, take photos, and take virtual tours. One of the problems that happened with that situation is that the virtual tours and the equipment necessary to do that is so sophisticated that a lot of agents do not have that equipment or the ability to do that. We're very fortunate on the Kenmore team. We do, so we have not missed a beat in that situation. And our photographers that run that equipment are also licensed agents, which give them some additional rights that normal companies would not have. However, that's not the case for the majority of the agents in Washington. So the Realtor Association went back to get clarification and basically said, here's the deal. We want to use virtual tours. We want to do that, but you're not letting the people that can do that have access to the properties. So there was another clarification issued. So now photographers and home stagers are allowed to work on properties to get them on the market. So that was a major change. The second clarification that we were really pushing hard for, that was a huge deal, was right before the first, they were not allowing property managers to use the same protocols as residential agents. And in our mind, that was an awful, awful thing, because here we are at the first of the month when we have a number of move-ins. We have move-in inspections that need to be done. We have move-ins for tenants and people that, even to get to their shelters so they can shelter in place, needed some of these basic functions to happen. Luckily, on the first, another clarification was issued by the governor's office. Those same rights were extended to property managers. And so the joke around our office, like I said, we have to find some fun in this, is progressively as the week went on, more and more people in our office were validated as being essential, McKay. Before that, our office was having great jokes with you're not essential. Sorry. But so as we progressively went through the clarifications, more and more of our functions were made essential. Obviously still following social distancing, obviously still following the governor's protocols. And then at the Kenmore team, we've taken some additional protocols above that. We really want to protect our staff, our photographers, our Matterport tours, so that we can continue to do virtual tours. So we're taking some additional protocols that are more restrictive than what was issued by the Association of Realtors, still allowing us to get properties on the market. We've had 6 sales personally over the course of the last 4 days from homes that we have put on the market. So homes are still selling. And now we have protocols in place, the ability to not only get those under contract, but to do the home inspections, to get this processed all the way through closing. So a lot of people have been calling us and have been asking, is there any reason to have the home on the market? Well, I would say yes in certain circumstances. If we can do it safely, especially if there's a vacant property, if we can handle those things, then I would say yes, because of the unknown. There is a great unknown of what the lending industry is going to look like 2 or 3 months from now. And that is a risk. And so I've been having those conversations with sellers all week and with buyers all week, is we don't know what that's going to look like 2 to 3 months from now. And buyers that are essential and are working, I will tell you, a couple things have happened in the last 7 days. Certain lenders in town have stopped doing certain programs. There are loan programs that are riskier than others, and in this environment, the lender does not want to risk taking on a loan where a first or second payment is missed. So their answer to that has been not to participate in that program. So we've already seen a number of loan programs that were available to buyers be suspended or not being facilitated right now. So if there is a program you can qualify for, there is a house that it is safe to go see that gets you and your family situated in a property, it might be the right time for you to go look because of the unknown. So that is a very complicated metric, though. And for some people, it is absolutely not the time to be doing that. And so we just have to have a conversation. We've had more of those conversations than I can remember in the last 14 days than we have had in a long time. I mean, I think I'm destroying the battery on my iPhone because I'm literally on the phone all day, which I love. It's how I built my business. It's how I work. So for a part of me, this feels like home, doing that, being on the phone, answering those questions, talking to those people. If you have any questions about those programs, go to kenmoreteam.com, shoot us a message. Our agents, our ISA, our inside sales agent, we are monitoring that website. Traffic has more than doubled on our website because of the virtual tours and people out there looking and the questions that are coming through. So this is a new normal for us. And so we're getting those questions answered. Feel free to reach out and let us know if you have any questions about that. I do want to get out my pick 3 because people are like, well, what is available? What's coming up? And I will tell you, we have 7 new listings in the pipeline for next week. So there's a lot of agents that are not working. They're not set up. They don't have that equipment. There's not a professional photographer that they work with that has that. So a lot of agents aren't working. And so it's highly likely that we're going to have an increased and influx of those listings and tours because we are equipped to get those on the market. And that's great on both ends. You know, it's been an immense effort to get us to this point to where we can work effectively with this new normal. So like I said, we have 7 contracts that were signed all remotely and scheduled for next week. We have the capacity to triple that because we have the extra cameras available. So if anybody has a question about going on the market or has been hesitant to, go to kenmoreteam.com and shoot us a message for that. My pick 3, though, real quick on what is available right now. So here's a price point that normally would have been in multiple offers immediately. And some of the ones we put on last week were multiple offers. But 7 North Irby Street, this is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath stucco rambler, convenient West Kennewick location, beautiful curb appeal, original hardwood floors that were finished in 2017, spacious living room, large family room off the kitchen, amazing outdoor living space. You've got an oversized covered patio, an outdoor fireplace for warming and cooking. I tell you what, when I'm quarantined, I want a place that has outdoor space right now. Extended open patio, mature landscaping, off-street parking, and an additional driveway for toys or RV parking. And that's coming in at $234,500. So once again, $234,500. Anything under $250 has been really difficult to find. If that looks like a winner to you when you do the virtual tour, let us know. We'd love to get you into that. Pick number 2. I tell you what, if I had to be quarantined somewhere, pick number 2, 98515 Canyon View Drive in Kennewick. This is like an executive estate. Awesome view on nearly an acre in Kennewick's desirable Cottonwood Springs out there, Badger Canyon area. 6-bedroom, 3-bath, office with a bonus room, custom rambler with a basement, tile flooring in the entry, split bedroom design. You've got formal dining room. The kitchen is absolutely awesome. You've got granite counters, lots of counter space, eating bar, stainless steel appliances, full tile backsplash, huge walk-in pantry, McKay, for quarantine items. Stock that baby up. Private master suite has a French door leading to the deck. Lots of storage throughout. Now, here's where it is just awesome. You've got a fully fenced backyard with an in-ground swimming pool, covered RV parking, and a 40 by 20 shop. I tell you what, in the past, you might not have thought you needed a shop, but I think when you're quarantined, you need a shop.
To build a gym.
Absolutely. Plus, you've got your attached, fully finished 3-car garage, 2 water heaters, and a solar panel system. And that's at $699.9, which for an executive estate like that, that's great pricing right now for what you're getting. And like I said, I've got my pool, I've got my shop, I've got my gym outside in the shop. Awesome property. And then pick number 3, 215604 East Pidcock Road. Very rare investment opportunity. This is a private, rural income producing 9.2 irrigated acres located on a dead-end street. The sale includes 3 homes, a shop, and an RV rental slab. And I'm telling you what, this screams family compound for quarantining. I love this property for what's going on in the world right now. The homes have fenced yards with their own septic and drain fields. Animals are allowed, and it's zoned rural 5. Plenty of space to add your dream shop. Irrigated by CID. 9.2 irrigated acres, 3 homes, and that's coming in at $359,000. So There's great properties out there. Please, you have been already going to our website. Go to kenmoreteam.com. We've made some adjustments to make it easier to look during this time period when we know you're home for so many hours. And shoot us a message. There's a lot of questions out there. Things are changing. We're shooting out updates via video also as we see things change and helping with that. Feel free also to hear us on our podcast. You can go to our website. You can sign up for the podcast also. If you have some additional time, we would love to have you as a new listener.
And Lance does very well on camera, which is why the camera's on him and not me.
I'm starting to adjust. My wife told me to keep the glasses up on my face. She did not like my last couple shots. It's
Didn't like the humor look.
so even even myself, I'm having to make the COVID and the quarantine updates and get better used to video. Love hearing from everybody, and we will be right back here next week.
Right here on News Talk 870.